top stories this evening, sponsored by Courts Bringing Value Home. AFC leader condemns Venezuelan attack on GDF troops, calls for diplomatic action. What do you have to hide? PNCR leader questions government's stance on the death of ADRIANA YOUNGE. AMERINDIAN Affairs Ministry's slothfulness in addressing land titling process must be addressed at upcoming NTCC, APA. And what's the reason for withholding the helicopter crash report? GDF says its probe has been completed. HGP Nightly News begins now. To our viewers here in Guyana and online, I'm ALETHEA Grant with the Friday, May 16, 2025 edition of the HGP Nightly News. In the news this evening, Alliance for Change leader Nigel Hughes is calling for urgent and decisive diplomatic action following what he described as a calculated attack by Venezuela on members of the Guyana Defense Force on the Guyana-Venezuela border. Hughes says the assault marks a dangerous escalation in Venezuela's aggression towards Guyana. Find out more from Tiana Cole.
Alliance for Change leader Nigel Hughes on Friday during his party's press conference condemned the most recent act of aggression by Venezuelan forces. He said the attack on ranks and officers of the Guyana Defense Force GDF while on patrol in the Iterim area represents a clear escalation in Venezuela's ongoing provocations.
This emerging pattern is clear and undeniable. It shows that a rogue state in Venezuela is waging an undeclared war against Guyana. The pattern further suggests that despite the known consequences and repercussions, Venezuela intends to stage a special military operation in the Essequibo region.
Hughes added that while Venezuela may attempt to deny involvement, the evidence leaves no room for doubt. He said this was a direct and deliberate attack by Venezuelan elements on Guyanese soldiers.
The AFC stands ready to support the fair and reasonable efforts of the government and once again demands the reconvening of the Foreign Relations Committee of the National Assembly and the Bipartisan Border and National Security Committee that previously existed.
He further emphasized the need for strong diplomatic actions. Among suggestions were the expulsion of Venezuela's ambassador to Guyana, the recall of Guyana's ambassador from Caracas, and an appeal to the United Nations Security Council for sanctions against Venezuela. Hughes said the government must show firm resolve.
The AFC awaits to be engaged in the interim and calls on all Guyanese to be vigilant, prepared, and supportive of those on the front line.
Earlier this week, members of the Guyana Defense Force came under fire while conducting routine patrol along the Cuyuni River, which borders Venezuela border. In a statement issued early Thursday, the GDF confirmed that there were 3 separate attacks over a 24-hour period, with no reported injuries. The attacks were reportedly carried out by armed men in civilian clothing on the Venezuelan side of the border. According to the GDF, its ranks exercised a measured response on all 3 occasions. They came under fire between Iterim and Macapa. Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
As dozens of persons picketed the office of the president Friday morning, leader of the opposition Aubry Norton is skeptical about government's position on the ADRIANA YOUNGE's case. What do you have to hide? Mr. Norton questions. Travis Chase reports.
Justice! Justice! Justice!
Insisting that the People's Progressive Party civic government request the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation to probe the circumstances surrounding the death of 11-year-old ADRIANA YOUNGE, supporters of the main opposition, the People's National Congress Reform, picketed the office of the president Friday morning. On the picket line was leader of the PNCR and leader of the opposition, Aubry Norton.
If you say you leave no stone unturned, how you could then come out and say, I did everything that I would have done. I don't have anything more to do. That suggests to me that he is complicit in the crime.
Already, President Irfan Ali has hinted that he has no intention of calling in the FBI to probe the child's death. Attorney General Anil Nandalal stressed that the Guyana Police Force remains the sole lawful authority for conducting investigations in the country, and that to call in the FBI to supersede the Guyana Police Force will not do well for the morale of the members of the Guyana Police Force. Opposition leader Aubry Norton is not buying the notions and believes there is more in the mortar than the pestle.
The police, more than a week after, had not taken one statement with serious police force that is looking at a crime, a crime scene, and a crime that would have occurred, and you decided that you are not going to interview anybody. It is after constant pressure.
Retired Canadian investigator Leonard Makoshin arrived in Guyana on Monday to begin working on the case. His services have already been procured by the government of Guyana. Young's family has rejected his services, citing his retired status and perceived lack of accountability to any formal organization.
We call for international investigators because the Guyana Police Force is compromised. The level of corruption at the top of the Guyana Police Force, it cannot challenge anything the government says.
An original police statement had said that Young was traced to a red and black Ram, which was heading in the direction of Reading Hoop. The Guyana Police Force later acknowledged that there were inaccuracies in its original statement and the child never left the hotel.
If you as a government believe it is not a crime, then what do you have to hide? Why don't you allow a proper, thorough investigation to be undertaken?
Adriana's body was discovered by her father, Sir Brian Young, in the swimming pool of the Doubleday Hotel on April 24, approximately 20 hours after she was reported missing during a family trip at Tushin, East Bank, Essequibo. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
Alliance for Change leader Nigel Hughes is calling out the Guyana Police Force for what he describes as a failure to deliver justice in the fatal shooting of a bystander in Linden. Hughes says there is sufficient evidence to lay charges, yet to date, no accountability has been shown. Find out more from Tiana Cole.
1 month after the fatal shooting of 32-year-old Keon Fojane, who was shot in the eye during the protest in Linden, Alliance for Change leader Nigel Hughes heavily criticized the Guyana Police Force for failing to charge the officer responsible.
There is video footage, and I actually accompanied an eyewitness by the name of Mr. Sulker to the Whistler police station on the night of one of the protests, and he gave a detailed statement to the police, not only recounting what took place, but identifying the officer who shot Mr. Fojane.
The AFC leader said his party is repeating its demand for the officer responsible for Fojane's death to be charged.
The fact that they've charged one police officer with the first killing is not enough. And so we repeat that request for the charge because we know the evidence exists and the evidence has been given to the Guyana Police Force. I was present when the statement was taken by the Office of Professional Responsibility.
Hughes emphasized that the continued failure to hold the officer accountable is eroding public confidence in the local law enforcement. Last month, Fojane and another man were shot during protest action in a mining town over the murder of another Lindener a day earlier. Fojane succumbed to his injuries while the other man survived. Tiana Cole reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
More news after this break. Stay with us.
Meet Mom. She's not just the wake up at the crack of dawn, make breakfast and pack bags kind of mom. she also gets her fitness game on. Yeah, she's the don't let anyone forget anything kind of mom. At the same time, she's the runs her own business, closing deals kind of mom, who finds time to get down and boogie with the kids after school, remodel the house, bake cake, host dinner, and even play her favorite game at the end of the day kind of mom. So let's celebrate mom, because to us, she's so much more.
Welcome to SNL Electrical Inc., where lighting's and electrical needs are met with expertise and style. From the latest in electrical lamps to durable cables, circuit breakers, panels, we have it all. Illuminate your space with our elegant chandeliers, stunning crystal lights, and versatile pole lights. Looking to upgrade your comfort? Explore top-of-the-line AC units and our diverse selections of stylish styles. Visit us at 170-180 Thomas Street, Kitty, Georgetown. Discover solution that not only lights up your world but transforms it. Call us on telephone number 226-3018 or 223-1634. SNL Electrical Inc. powering your life with elegance, quality, and care.
With 70% ethyl alcohol, Mighty Foam Hand Sanitizer eliminates 99.99% of all germs and even moisturizes in the process, leaving your skin clean and hydrated. Mighty Foam Hand Sanitizer. How do you stay clean?
Krishna Ralph Establishment. No job is too small or too large. We specialize in all types of fabricating, machinery, excavator repairs, rice field pumps, and hydraulic hoses. Visit us at Lot 113, Block CC Monrepo, East Coast, Demerara, or call 220-9624, 616-9416, or 619-7880. At Krishna Ralph Establishment, no job is too small or too large.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by June 30, 2025 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. Anyone eligible for registration is required to visit the GCOM registration office responsible for his or her area of residence to apply for registration. Persons who are already registered could apply for a name change if they have changed their names since they were registered. Apply for corrections if there is incorrect information on their national ID card. Persons who are desirous of conducting any of those transactions must provide the relevant supporting documents. Persons who have already registered must collect their new ID cards if they have not yet done so. This registration exercise will end on May 30, 2025. You need to apply for a transfer if you now live at another address since you were registered. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-02-7729 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Thanks for staying with us. You with the HGP Nightly News. With the National Tushaus Council Conference scheduled for next Monday, the Amerindian People's Association is insisting that issues such as the forum's format, which does not allow indigenous leaders enough time to voice urgent concerns, and the resolution of land titling matters be addressed. Antonio Day has more.
Graham Atkinson, project coordinator at the Amerindian People's Association, is hoping that this year's National Tushaw Council Conference creates a better space for indigenous leaders to address pressing matters. Among these issues are the resolution of land titling matters in indigenous communities such as Jawala and Chinese Landing.
That the Tushaws feel empowered to continue to make these requests and demands of the government. They can't let up. These are issues that affect them, existential issues, issues of rights violations, and if they do let up, it means that keep silent, it means that they're accepting the status quo, and the status quo, as we know it, is far from what it's supposed to be.
In response to villagers' complaints about violations, Atkinson stated in an interview with Nightly News that the AP was open to collaborating with the government on ways to resolve problems pertaining to the Amerindian land titling project. He posited that the Ministry of Amerindian Affairs, led by Minister Pauline Sukai, for whatsoever reason, has been unwilling to work with the APA in addressing these issues.
Indigenous peoples' lands, I think the land demarcation process is very slow. We have the ALT project that has not been turning out the required results that it's supposed to be.
It is anticipated that titling and demarcation will enhance land tenure security and the growth of Amerindians' asset base, allowing for better long-term planning for their future development. The Amerindian Land Titling ALT project aims to empower Amerindians to safeguard their lands and natural resources with an eye towards sustainable social and economic development.
And this is because government is in control of the demarcation processes, but there is no great hurry or even efficiency in getting to the point where indigenous people's lands.
The APA representative also discussed other topics that need to be the focus of the Two-House Conference, like the amendment to the Amerindian Act of 2006. He believes this has been on the back burner for too long.
There were glaring gaps which were highlighted then, but the Act also has good parts, but there are certain parts that lack the respect for indigenous people's rights, and so that's where we wanted it to be, the changes to be.
I'm Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Meanwhile, Laura George, an indigenous rights activist and Alliance for Change member, is worried about the safeguards in place to protect the people who live near the Venezuelan borders. George's growing concerns come in light of recent attacks by Venezuelan military forces on members of the Ghana Defense Force. Antonio Day has that story.
Many citizens are apprehensive after Venezuela's most recent military attacks on Ghana Defense Force ranks as the country moves forward with its planned elections to annex Ghana's Essequibo. Alliance for Change member and indigenous rights activist Laura George is pleading with the state to establish backup plans for citizens of communities like Arau, Kaikan, and Itiringbang, which are close to the Venezuelan border in the event of attacks.
Guyana has to address how do we deal with these persons who live on the Venezuela shore, who might very well be under pressure to vote along with Venezuela, under pressure and perhaps intimidated or threatened by the Venezuelan army.
The International Court of Justice ICJ granted Ghana's request for a temporary injunction against Venezuela's declared intention to hold elections in Essequibo. Given the large number of Venezuelan men in military uniforms moving through communities, she suggested that the government hold a meeting with the populace to discuss the security measures that will be implemented.
We're also very much aware of the lack of effective protection and services that we've given prior, during incidents that have affected our army personnel.
George, in response to questions posed by Nightly News, debriefed on a recent occurrence in Arau.
Like last week, Thursday, the residents of Arau and Kaikan and those places couldn't sleep because they reported that there were 3 boatloads of army personnel that had at least 40 in each boat, Venezuelan soldiers. They further learned that it was a change of the guard that takes place, from time to time.
The AFC executive also touched on her expectations of the National Two-House Council conference slated for Monday.
The practicality of the NTCC conference has been it has not yielded response to policy, legislative, and program and other areas there. So that's why we continue to have Jawala's situation.
She said at every Two-House conference, the government picks and chooses what matters should be addressed, which restricts indigenous leaders from effectively addressing grave matters. In this context, George stated that considering the ongoing conflict between Venezuela and Ghana, Two-House should be apprised on what measures the state will take to effectively protect its citizens.
It wastes the time of the Two-House and the communities, is disrespectful to them, because we're trying to make them feel that it's being addressed.
I'm Antonio Day reporting for the HGP Nightly News.
Thank you, Antonio. More news on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
Planning a cleanup? We can help. Vaughn's Waste Management skip bins can be provided for home renovation projects, yard cleanup, or construction project. It's simple. Step 1, give us a call. Step 2, we put down the bin. Step 3, load it up with all of your junk. Step 4, we take it away. That's simple. Bins are also available in various sizes, so there is no job that is too big or too small. Call Vaughn's Waste Management today at 218-1455.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. If you have moved to a new address since you were registered, you are required to update your address by applying for a transfer to ensure your registration details are accurate. Visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to apply for a transfer. You can apply to have your address updated during this national registration exercise. You can visit the GCOM registration offices Monday to Thursday from 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 16 hours 30, and Friday from 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 15 hours 30. The offices will be closed on weekends and holidays. This registration exercise will end on May 30, 2025. For more information, contact GCOM on 225-0277-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Hey, stop, I don't go away when you don't eat food, you know. You got fair wash your place because I did my nails. When is somebody going to make a nice cake? Is my good cake on upon the same?
Madam, I got a call from the people in the community, and they said you are disturbing the peace. You're smelling up the place, and you're doing something, but your food always seems to smell good.
Peppies, you get the best on these things.
These things just make you cook good. I want these things, and I'll carry them for evidence.
Do I love all of you?
Peppies, we put the pep back into your kitchen.
And you.
The final event to close off an exciting Genesis Independence Weekend 2025
with one of dancehall's youngest superstars,
the Girls' 10 President,
Molly Dance.
Molly Dance. Cabeza Cool Out Beach Party.
This Independence Day, Monday, 26th of May.
On the Kingstown beachfront, it's a holiday.
Come, let's party on the sand at From Sunset with Molly, Dan, and Fusion.
Stereo Sonic.
Determined Sound.
And Boom FM DJs.
Gates open from 4. Brought to you by Cabeza and Hits and Jam's 25th anniversary.
Get a free ticket by purchasing Cabeza drink at participating outlets. Meet Mom. She's not just the wake up at the crack of dawn, make breakfast and pack bags kind of mom. She also gets her fitness game on. Yeah, she's the don't let anyone forget anything kind of mom. At the same time, she's the runs her own business, clothes, and deals kind of mom, who finds time to get down and boogie with the kids after school, remodel the house, bake cake, host dinner, and even play her favorite game at the end of the day kind of mom. So let's celebrate Mom, because to us, she's so much more.
As you're watching the HGP Nightly News, 4 men were today charged with 9 counts of robbery on their arms committed on 7 Guyanese and 2 Guyanese of Chinese descent. The men are Jacob Fable, male, Guyanese of African descent, age 58 years, a fisherman of Paramaribo, Suriname, and Manchester Village, Quarantine. Andre Crandon, called Gunman, male, Guyanese of African descent, age 38 years, a laborer of Lot 151, Little India, Cariveton. Joshua Smith, called Bias, male, Guyanese of African descent, age 30 years, a construction worker of Lot 47, Liverpool Village, Quarantine, and Fitzroy Joseph, called Mansell, male, Guyanese of African descent, age 27 years, a hire car driver of number 77 Housing Scheme, Cariveton, Berbice. They were arrested on the 13th and 14th of May by detectives in Berbice. According to the police, the 9 persons were robbed of close to $5.5 million in cash, cell phones, a motor car, a gold ring, earring, a bangle, SIM cards, and several bank cards. They all appeared at the Springlands Magistrates Court on May 16, 2025 via Zoom, where the indictable charges were read to them. They were not required to plead. Bail was refused and the matter was postponed to June 11, 2025. It remains unclear why the government has opted not to release the findings of that helicopter crash that claimed the lives of 5 servicemen. The Ghanaian Defense Force has confirmed that its internal investigation has been completed. Travis Chase reports.
The Ghana Defense Force had established a board of inquiry into the deadly December 2023 helicopter crash that killed 5 members of the military. 14 months after that investigation, Chief of Defense Staff of the Ghana Defense Force, Brigadier Omar Khan, could not say when the findings of that investigation will be released.
So the Board of Inquiry is meant to have that report when it's completed. We did what we had to do, but there's a part in which we have to have from the official report to take into consideration to complete our Board of Inquiry.
Nightly News understands that investigations by the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority and the Ghana Defense Force have been completed, but the reason for withholding the report remains a mystery.
All the recommendations, all the findings of our internal investigation have been acted upon.
What were those findings?
I will make that available when the official report comes out.
Minister of Public Works Juan Edgel, who has aviation oversight, had stated in early January of this year that the draft report into the deadly helicopter crash was awaiting comments from the various stakeholders and that they have until January 10, 2025 to do so. More than 70 days have passed since the last deadline given by Minister Edgel.
The helicopter investigation, we were a stakeholder in that investigation. By the nature of Guyana's law, the Ministry of Public Works has that mandate to direct an investigative body to investigate that incident.
The crash had claimed the lives of Brigadier Gary Beaton, Colonel Michael Shuhul, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Charles, Lieutenant Colonel Sean Welcome, and Staff Sergeant Jason Khan. The 2 survivors were Lieutenant Andy Crawford and Corporal Dwayne Jackson. The incident occurred about 30 miles east of Arau, near the Venezuelan border. Travis Chase, HGP Nightly News.
Stay tuned for regional news.
Turbo with a new look, new style, with the same great taste in the 250 ml can. Everybody run out now. Go and go grab one. Me charge up with a turbo 250 ml at your favorite spot. Wait, sell. New look, new can, same vibes. Jinxing, energize up your life. Vibes up, work time, anytime we are turn up the party with turbo can. Turbo can, turbo can, turbo can. Now available in the new 250 ml can. Turbo energy drink. Charge up today.
It's that time of the year to unleash your creativity, unleash your style, unleash your vibes.
Hits and Jams Entertainment presents the biggest fashion event of 2025.
Soca and Wine.
Fashion Unleashed.
Wine, 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 wine. Soca and Wine. Soca and Wine. Soca and Wine. Unlock your fashion sense and let's party together in a world where fashion meets music and the widest array of wines. Soca and Wine 2025.
Fashion Unleashed
On Sunday, the 25th of May.
at the Marriott parking lot.
Super early bird tickets, $10,000. Available at www.hjexperience.com and HJ Box Office. Soca and Wine 2025.
The Ministry of Education wishes to announce that the Because We Care Cash Grant and the Uniform and School Supplies Grant will begin distribution from May 12, 2025. Please note, however, that distribution will begin later in May and in some cases June for certain regions. Therefore, we encourage all parents and guardians to consult the published distribution schedule to confirm when their grant will be available.
So, what's been given this year?
The grant has been increased to $55,000 per child. This includes $50,000 for the Because We Care Cash Grant and $5,000 for the Uniform and School Supplies Grant.
Who qualifies for this grant?
All public and private school learners from nursery year 1 to grade 10 who are registered and attending school are eligible. In grade 11, only students who will register for CAPE grade 12 in September qualify, along with current grade 12 students who will be continuing to grade 13. For children entering nursery this year, they must have been registered by March 28, 2025.
How do I collect the grant?
The parent or assigned guardian of the child can uplift the grant at the child's school. Just make sure to bring a valid form of ID, your national ID card, passport, or driver's license.
What if I don't have any of those IDs?
No worries, your identity can be verified by a senior official in your community, such as the school's principal or village tushaw.
Suppose I can't go myself to collect it. What then?
You can authorize someone else to collect the grant on your behalf.
What happens if I miss the date?
If you miss the scheduled date at your school, a later collection date will be announced, but this will only happen after the national distribution is completed, so it's best to collect it as scheduled if possible. Got more questions? Check the Ministry of Education's social media pages or contact your child's school for more information. In service to you, because we care.
Good evening and welcome to Friday's edition of the Regional News. We begin with news in the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Defense Minister Wayne Sturge has ordered that itinerary of Jamaican dancehall artist Vybz Kartel to be cut. In one of his first acts of business, Sturge, according to a legal source within the ministry, is prohibiting Vybz Kartel from 2 media interviews and other events. The artist born Adidja Palma is scheduled to arrive in the country on May 26 in preparation for his concert on May 31. According to immigration order, Sturge blanked Palma for a morning radio interview, a midday television appearance, and a local press drop-in on May 27. He's also blocked a meet and greet, a visit to a school or youth center, a cultural launch with the community leaders, and an official meet and greet on May 28. Turning attention to news in Latin America, police in Colombia have arrested a man suspected of being involved in the killing of 13 kidnapped workers at a gold mine in neighboring Peru. Miguel Antonio Rodriguez Diaz, whose alias is Cochillo, was arrested in the city of Medellin in a joint operation between the two countries, and Interpol, according to Peru's Interior Ministry and Colombian police. The bodies of the miners were recovered on the 4th of May from a tunnel at a mine in Pataz, district of Peru. A lawyer for Mr. Diaz has denied his involvement in the killings. The 13 men killed in Pataz had been sent to confront a group which had attacked and occupied the mine, but were ambushed and seized as they were trying to regain control of it, Peruvian authorities said. Mr. Diaz is suspected of allegedly ordering the storming of the mine's entrance with the aim of stealing gold extracted by miners, Peru's Interior Ministry said in a statement. And we end with interesting news in India. India is considering plans to dramatically increase the water it draws from a major river that feeds Pakistani farms downstream as part of retaliatory action for a deadly April attack on tourists that New Delhi blames on Islamabad, according to 4 people familiar with the matter. Delhi, quote unquote, put in abeyance its participation in the Indus Waters Treaty of 1960, which governs usage of the Indus River system, shortly after 26 civilians in Indian Kashmir were killed in what India called an act of terror. Pakistan has denied involvement in the incident, but the accord has not been revived despite the two nuclear-armed neighbors agreeing on a ceasefire last week, following the worst fighting between them in decades. Thank you for watching. I'm Antonio Day.
AFC leader condemns Venezuelan attack on GDF troops, calls for diplomatic action. What do you have to hide? PNCR leader questions government's stance on the death of ADRIANA Young. Amerindian Affairs Ministry's slothfulness in addressing land titling process must be addressed at the upcoming NTCC, APA. And what's the reason for withholding the helicopter crash report? GDF says its probe has been completed. Those are our major headlines. For these stories and more, please go to our website. It's www.hgptv.com. I'm ALETHEA Grant. Thanks for watching.